Nailed it.
So, hey, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
And we are
Nailed It, the podcast.
So, stopping in while recording this, a fine Sunday morning.
Yeah,
'Cause,
this is our first morning recording. We've
yeah,
never
rock
done
and roll
an episode
people.
like this.
We're super well-rounded in the morning. Jake and I had planned to record last evening, but that turned into watching a cool movie and falling asleep on the couch. So,
that movie was really good. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. And for viewers and listeners, it was called the 4:30 movie.
Yeah,
right?
4:30. Kevin Smith. We're big Kevin Smith fans, and I had not seen it, and Jake had not even known about it. Apparently,
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a thing.
just came out last September. Obviously very limited run in the theaters, and I knew it's been on home video for a month or two now, but I just didn't get a chance to watch it. But great little 90 minutes. All his movies are short and sweet to the point. He doesn't like long movies, and it was essentially the movie is a summertime story set in the 80s. It's basically a loose interpretation of what happened to him in that summer.
Right.
But young teenage guys sneaking in and out of movies, trying to get a date, things like it. It's very heartwarming, nice.
It had the feelings of like an 80s feel good movie.
Yeah, they did. He definitely went for that, which is what he grew up on. That
Yeah.
makes sense. And it definitely had, not just obviously they set it in the 80s so that everybody was dressed in the look of everything, but it just felt like that it was filmed Kevin Smith style.
Yeah.
Like you said, when the first frame came on, like, this looks like a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah, there was the certain cuts to different shots. I know I've said it a couple times when we were watching it. It felt like a Clerk style film, like it was shot in that same kind of handheld, or what do you call that? Almost like a found footage, but not found footage.
Right.
Where it's that handheld camera style that Clerks was, and it just had that overall feel that was a cool style that you don't see very often.
Right.
But it had that feel good, and I hate using the term
Vibe.
Yeah, feel good vibe that those 80s style movies have.
Yeah, it was definitely lots of packed with like so many cameos of people who are just friends with Kevin Smith.
Oh my God,
for
yeah.
anything. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I certainly want people to watch this movie. It's definitely worth a watch. Like all his movies, they tend to do better later when people can watch them at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 4:30 movie. It's you can rent it. $6 or something to rent for the night, or if you want to own it. You're a Kevin Smith nut job. I didn't own this one, but now that I've seen it, it might be one I'll add to my collection.
That is a good one.
But it's definitely worth watching again too. I would definitely watch that. That's a movie I would put on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of those, hey, let's throw this on while we're doing something else kind of movies. 'Cause
Right.
It was definitely good. I'm sure you pick up other little things, and it was definitely an enjoyable watch. So, I wasn't what I thought our Saturday night was going to end up being. I had to cancel a show last evening with Fell from Zero because we had ice weather, so we kept it safe. So that turned into you and your girlfriend coming over here instead of us all being at the show.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a fun little hangout. So, but here we are making up for it on a Sunday morning with our recording.
Yeah, something we don't get to do very often is just like hang out and do basically nothing.
Non-music stuff.
Yeah, just hang out, watch a movie, drink some beer and whatever. But yeah, now we're here Sunday morning recording.
Yep. So,
and doing our
very first, yes, hello to our very first Facebook Live. We're going to try and do more of these things. YouTube, probably once we get the YouTube up going on. And speaking of which, we did recently start a YouTube page, and I did go in. I talked to Jake about this last week before. After our last episode with our friend Chris Sheeler, go back and watch that one or listen to it wherever you listen to your podcasts. And I uploaded every video we've done. We didn't always show video episodes. We use them or use the audio, but everything we've done on video up till today is on our YouTube to watch. Some of it's unedited. Some of it has our opening line tags and stuff. Some of it's just the raw footage I put up, but you can we'll get to always see where we came from. And honestly, all the videos that are up are from season 2.
Yes.
We have one season 1 video when we tried, I believe.
Is that where we tried it? And
it was ugly.
It was ugly.
Audio
we had to pull the audio from it
from my phone because the audio on the computer was stopped recording for some reason. I have that video somewhere, and maybe it'll go up as a nostalgic thing. But either way, 99% of all the video, anything video we've done since we started this a couple years ago is on our YouTube now. So you can find Nail the Podcast on YouTube. So, but at some point we'll maybe move our live videos over to that. You got to build a YouTube page apparently a little bit before you're allowed to use
Yeah.
X amount of subscribers. So, push the like and subscribe button.
Yes.
Um,
Like, subscribe, comment. Oh, look, someone liked our video. Hey, thanks, whoever that
thanks.
was.
Sorry, we don't have our phones nearby enough
I can't. And my eyes suck, so I
see
can't see
who liked it. But thank you. We'll find it later. Well, actually, I can get to my phone. Look, live is going to make us super unprofessional.
it. We should also preface the fact that this morning we were trying to figure out what we wanted to discuss, and we kind of just are doing what we do, and this will be a ramblings episode more than likely.
Yeah, Ramblings 3.0 or where we're at now. I can't see the comment yet because it only shows in real time, but I'll figure that out. I'm gonna figure out who did that. Thank you. We have 2 people watching. One of them's probably me.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, yo, how you doing? What's Black Panther?
This Black Panther.
We were watching an insane amount of stupid videos on the internet this morning. We won't get into that. That would be a whole other show. But what's on your mind, man? We usually talk about shows and gigs and stuff, but this is one of those episodes we can just talk about it.
It's been recently it's been just kind of dry with shows. We did a show over at the Naughty Goose.
Yep, we did our first of the 4 winter shows at the Goose.
Yep.
I played a Falls gig, which I do pretty regular anymore. But show-wise, it hasn't been much. I know you and I have started working on a song this week. We'll keep it under wraps. It's definitely something for my sister, something I was thinking about doing.
Yep.
One of her friends up north did a song this week and put it out for her. And I joked with my brother that he beat me to the punch, but I wasn't trying to rush things because, as you know, and anybody who listens to our stuff knows, I don't write fast or well, especially not instrumentally.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talked to you about it, you had some ideas already instrumentally that you worked out.
Yeah.
So that's coming down. I'm not going to rush through it. I don't think we're going to. I don't think it's ready for anybody to hear or anything, even parts of it, but because we barely worked on it. But that's coming, so that's cool. I don't get to, as we talk a lot, I don't get to get into writing much because I just don't. One, I don't care for my own writing very often, and I just don't. Sometimes I don't feel creative enough to write, but something like this usually gets me started, so I got a feeling there'll be other songs behind it just because.
Yeah.
And you got some new Listexia stuff you said you guys are working on?
Yep, we've got a couple new tunes in the works. We were having a discussion as a band this past week that we are aiming, we won't, confirm it or, set a specific date to it, but we are hoping and aiming to have a full album by the spring.
Excellent.
Between the 2 songs that have been released, and we've got ones that are in the works and the recording stages and everything. I think at the moment we're sitting on 7 original tunes, and
that's more than enough these days.
But we're aiming to have a full 10 for an album, and it's one of those that we've got so many songs started, but only 7 that are finished, like start to fit, like from
full songs.
Yeah, full
complete
songs. And honestly, the biggest thing dragging it is the instrumental parts, because we know Dave can bust out lyrics in a day.
Yeah, he is good at that. Always has been.
Yeah, asshole.
Yeah, we can't all be as good as Dave Zinkowitz. Oh God, I said that on the internet for people to see. Oh God, he's going to hear about it.
But yeah, for Listexia, that's kind of where we're at. We're at with finishing the original tunes. I've been reaching out to a couple venues about trying to get some more shows set up within the area. That's one thing I've taken notice to. That's the difference between finding shows for us versus finding shows for
cover versus original.
Yeah,
never mind genres.
Yeah, well, I think the genre thing is a big one too, is because like for us, like if I'm just trying to get us an acoustic duo gig or a Ghostlight gig, I send them the set list. They see the songs, they know the songs,
right?
And
yeah.
But then if I'm trying to get us into an original venue for an original band, and I'm like, oh, here's two original songs, it's going to be a little bit more of a fight because they got to find a band that'll suit another band that'll
Fit the
fit the
vibe.
bill.
Yeah.
And it's been a little bit of an obstacle, but we're in talks with a couple different venues and hopefully going to get something set up soon for at least one show.
Good.
But I'm trying to think some of the other, like some venues, obviously, now that we have Love Drafts moving.
Right. We just found out this week that Love Drafts in Mechanicsburg, a good place for shows. They, by their own words, have outgrown the venue and what they're doing, so they're moving to a bigger place in downtown Harrisburg. So I guess they're finishing out February.
Yeah.
And then I guess they'll be switching any future shows immediately to the new place, the way I understand it.
From what they had announced, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like it's just going to be a quick transition from one place to the next. So,
other than that, I'm still working on some original stuff myself. Between just the Jake Scholl project as well as Big Happy Fast Mother Monkey, I've got a couple tunes for both of them in the works that I'm hoping to have released relatively soon. Some covers I've been working on just for the fun of it because, uploading and releasing covers is a hassle and a half.
Yes. Streaming rights and whatnot.
Yeah, like
copyright laws.
Like forever.
ASCAP.
Forever, like grateful for, because I do all my stuff through DistroKid. And if you do upload a cover, it is a yearly charge to do it. I think it's when I released my All I Want for Christmas Is You cover, I think it's like $10 a year.
Oh, that's not much.
But then it's on top of like your normal subscription for, using DistroKid.
But it covers your ass for
legal stuff.
Legal stuff doing cover, yeah.
So like I've done so many different covers, and ones that I'm really proud of and ones not so much, but the ones that I would like to release, I have to really think like, is this worth the $10 I'm going to spend on it? Because, being...
Well, is it $10 a year?
Yes.
Well, I mean, if you do it more than once, then in my opinion, that's probably well worth it.
Yeah.
But if you only get one cover out, you want to pay $10 for something that isn't yours?
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
I guess it's
with
up and down, yeah.
It's like, I'm really proud of some of the covers I've done. Like I did a cover of You Wreck Me, the Tom Petty tune.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love. And I hate to talk about my own stuff so much, but it's one that I'm super proud of.
Yeah, I mean, it's our podcast.
I
Talk about what you
I can
want.
say what I want.
Right.
But like again, it's one that's spit it out. Are people going to listen to it? Are people going to enjoy it? Aside from me liking my own stuff, and then also putting money into it for nobody to hear it, if that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah,
Which I know is a big thing on my own part, is sharing it, distributing it amongst social media groups and just my own personal social medias and such.
Right.
So it's an ongoing battle. If I see a song that I do or like a cover I do is worth it.
Right.
If that makes sense. But, I've done a couple covers that may work its way into an album or something. I know I was toying with the idea of doing a Wasp cover.
Can you see my face, Internet? Can you see it? I mean, no, please go on with your very topical bands.
I have a cover that the instrumental's done and my vocals are done for it, but I was doing a vocal. It was going to be a back and forth vocal. It was initially going to be pitched as a Lisdexia idea, but just Wasp does not really fit Lisdexia.
No.
But I know Mr. Dave Z has a huge love for Wasp.
He does. He came from that era. He's an old man.
So he's going to be featured on the track, doing guest vocals with me on that. So that one may get released at some point in the near to distant future, unknown.
Hey, man. I mean, you have the product, so to speak. You had the time to do so, and
yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, yeah. Again, I've said many times on our podcast, and for anyone to hear, Your ability to create stuff like that,
Mm.
like in a couple days' time, blows my mind. So why wouldn't you keep doing it? I mean, in my opinion, if it were me, I'd be doing it. Whenever the mood strikes me, or especially since you fit in trying to write stuff too. Like I just think that's great. I wish I had. Well, I mean, the talent's one thing. I'm not a talented creator, so to speak. I'm a copycat. I mean, at the end of the day, I do other people's things. I just do them well. That's most of the time, except for that video you showed me earlier. We'll get into that. But I mean, if I could do this stuff, I'd probably do it way more often too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd do it whenever I could. I'd certainly look at it as an outlet, but also worth the time, in my opinion, time and money, I guess.
Right.
So,
there's another thing with like recording or like releasing and recording the songs that I've released and recorded. I've begun to be almost frugal with the songs that I release because I need to be 100% positive with how I feel about these songs. Because before, I used to just record a song and release it. Like I recently went back and re-listened to the first like EP that I released back in 2020, and I absolutely hate them. Like the songs have a purpose, but hearing them or like thinking back then when I was like, these songs are great, and I think these can hold up with anybody's songs that are released right now, was thinking very highly of me.
well, I mean, self-importance has a place in creativity, but
Yeah.
also does humbling yourself a little bit,
right.
So, which is maybe where you're getting at.
Yeah, and now, like with the song that I released recently, my song Cyber Shadows, that was a song that came so naturally, lyrically and instrumentally, where songs from the first EP, I spent years just trying to write something.
Gotcha. So your style has not only improved, but your songwriting, not your style, but your process has gotten easier or
yeah.
better,
So
quicker.
like the instrumental to Cyber Shadows was written in a night. Like I wrote and recorded that whole thing in one night because it just was something that came out.
Well, that sometimes that's the best songs.
Yeah. And I know we talked about it on a previous episode of like the meaning and everything behind the song. It was just, that was something that I knew about. So like the being basically cyberbullied and just being chased around on social medias by people that are out to get you and stuff like that.
Right.
Because it's things that I've experienced and have witnessed, it was something I knew that I could just sit down and write. And
makes sense.
Because going back and really understanding what I wrote about, feeling what I wrote about, it to me was a better song, if that makes sense.
No, isn't that how you're supposed to feel?
Right. Like
at the end of it, aren't you supposed to be proud of what you put out or happy with what you put out? I mean,
yeah.
Again, you're talking from a guy who hasn't released an original song in 20 years, and the only songs I still do with Fell from Zero, the only way you're going to find those is live videos of us online from a few years ago, and we barely play the original songs at our shows anymore because we've come to run out of time, really, because people want to hear the covers. That's what,
right.
Because we don't play as much. So I don't have a lot of I don't have the release schedule. Let's say you do the amount of releases you do, but at the same time you want it to be out there for people to see it.
Yeah.
Like I would love for us to studio record those 3 songs. We did a home studio record them, but we never mixed them down, and it was basically scratch vocals. And now that computer's locked away in storage somewhere, and I'm not sure it would be able to get those files back if we'd even want those files.
Right.
But now we're all in completely separate worlds and lives. Getting together to re-record is probably impossible anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So those songs may never have official recordings, but maybe I just move on to writing country songs. I don't know. I don't know. Wouldn't shock anybody at this point.
Nah.
But I mean, we all want to have our thing if we're doing it. Not everybody writes. It's not for everybody. Some people are just comfortable in a cover band, like me.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable singing other people's tunes and having a good time with folks. And if I get a chance to write something people enjoy it, great. But my days of thinking that I need to express myself by writing are long behind me, or that I wanted to get somewhere with my own stuff. I was never going to be that guy. It just wasn't. That wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you, on the other hand, put out a good bit of product, and you're still young enough that maybe the right people will hear it.
Yeah.
That's the dream, you know. But yeah, I got nothing against being able to record, and certainly I would be the same way. I'm not happy hearing my own voice on a recording.
Oh, I hate hearing my own
So
voice.
for me to sit down like you do and self mix or
Yeah.
self master, I just would never. I would never release it because I'd never be happy with it.
Yeah.
You know, or I'd always have some, like I do at my solo shows when I manage expectations. I would literally release something and go, well, this is basically demo quality because I don't, you know, I would find a
Yeah.
reason to set it up for failure by telling people, hey, this isn't great, but there might be a reason.
Yeah.
No, maybe the reason is I didn't let anybody else hear it.
Right.
But who knows? I'm not there. That's something you know more about in life than I do.
Yeah. Like, you mean like with hearing how your
Like,
own product sounds?
like you record the product. For instance, you did that song one night.
Yeah.
Then listening back to it, you in your head were like, you know what, this is good. This has got to go.
Yeah.
But because you're the only one hearing it before anyone else,
Yeah.
you don't know. You may not. You might have a better ear for your own stuff now. But like, even think back to your EP. You didn't. That just went out because you're like, that's good enough. But there's somebody out there that maybe you should get an opinion from.
Yeah.
Let's say it was me, or you're like, hey, let me bounce this off you quick before I release it. Or
Yeah.
somebody you know that works in a studio. Hey, you got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Should I change something? Or another person you know that records that you like what they do.
Mhm.
You know, Joe.
Yeah.
Somebody, hey man, how's this sound to you? You don't necessarily feel, and you haven't put out anything that I've never said, dude, this recording is shit,
Right.
or anything like that. You know, because I'll give you an honest opinion.
Right.
I part of our friendship I appreciate, but also, what if you let someone hear it that knows a little bit about recording, and
Yeah.
you know, you don't have to,
Right.
but are you going to look back on it in 5 years and go, I probably should have let somebody hear that? Like
Yeah.
EP. That wasn't my best. It was at the time, maybe, because we all get better.
Yeah.
But what if someone would have been there over my shoulder to say, well, what if you try this?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. As I know from talking to people who spend time in studios, obviously I don't. That's what you get out of a producer and someone who's there is, hey, try it this way, try it that way. But I also think that probably I've known plenty of guys who write their own stuff that are so fixated on controlling what it is that is like it's foreign to them to ask someone to listen to it.
Right.
You know, you can go to a professional like you know, Caleb, our love for Beartooth, and yes, he essentially writes, plays, mix, and masters the whole thing. They don't send it out to anybody.
Yeah.
But he also knows what his sound should be, and they haven't put out an album that sounds bad.
Right.
Like, he's at a different level of what I'll ever be, or even you're at now.
Yeah.
He can it feels like he can put himself outside of what he wrote to properly master it.
Right.
And that's not saying he doesn't let the guys in to hear it, or like, I doubt he's locked himself in a closet and the band doesn't hear the album until it's release day.
Right.
But I think there's levels of how good you are. He would probably admit that if once we get him on the show one day.
Yeah.
He would probably say that when he first started doing it, he didn't think, you know, he's used to it. You know, I talk about it. He's already said there's at least one album he's not happy with.
Oh yeah.
Them. You know, their second album, their second studio album, he was unhappy. Well, but their first full studio album,
What?
Aggressive.
Aggressive was the second one.
Well, isn't Disgusting not quite a full album? Oh no, it is. There was an EP before that.
They had the first one. The EP was called Sick.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Wow, sorry, I'm really not a fan. Never heard of him before. Yeah, he didn't like Aggressive because the studio rushed him.
Yeah.
I never thought about it. Sounds fine to me, but you also hear the progression of how good the recordings become.
Yeah.
From there till now. So I guess that's, if your only job though is to make music and write and record yourself, I mean, you can get real good in just a few years. So.
Yeah.
And you've done that.
Yeah.
You've gotten better in a few years. It's only been, you know, we're going on 5 years probably. Or
yeah. So, yeah. Because I released that EP. It was either 2020 or 2021 or like real early.
COVID days.
Yeah. It was during the COVID
times,
days. Because I
remember
remember
the Empire.
I remember writing the lyrics when I worked when I was working my factory job and it was, you know, on third shift,
Scribbled them down on a
scribbling
notepad,
them on a little
on a napkin.
notepad that I had. And I remember, stuffing the paper in my pocket and having to take it home the next day. I remember, this is a funny one. I took a notepad. It was like a full notebook that was sitting on one of the desks, like one of the control desks of the machine. And I opened it up, and there was like 2 pages written in the front of it that was just like a couple of notes. I ripped those out and I stuck them on the desk, and I took that whole notebook and I wrote all the lyrics for the first EP in that notebook, which I still have somewhere. It's this little like purple notebook that I then wrote in Sharpie, Jake's lyric book, and it lived in my locker at work, and I would write all kinds of lyrics in there. And like I said, I still have it somewhere. God knows where it is. But yeah, took it right off of a desk at the factory I used to work at. No one ever said anything. No one ever questioned where the notebook went.
No one asked. Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah,
I guess.
out of sight, out of mind.
Yep, that's right.
But yeah, little stuff like that are like the stories that I like to tell of like where I started and
Where you're going.
yeah,
Little things like that. And you remember details that I used to remember a lot of details when I was a young boy. I used to do that too. I had 2 things when I was writing. So I had a notebook and I typed everything out.
yeah,
I'd get stuff. I'd sketch it out. Like I have a pad over there on the desk right now with lyrics for that song we were talking about earlier. But then I immediately go and I'll type them out even if it's not complete yet, so I can go back to them no matter when I'm at work or wherever I'm at on my phone.
yeah,
But I would do that back in the day. I had a notebook full. I probably had 30 lyrics.
yeah,
They were all awful. I've never written a song for my life kind of lyrics, and a couple of them we made songs out of my first band. But I was going through a thing, and I just had all this stuff in my head. I'm like, I never wrote songs for them, right? And they weren't great, and they're still not great. But I was getting it out. But I also did that with covers. Back in my day,
back in my day,
we couldn't just go on our phones and look up lyrics.
Yeah,
like, internet on phones was still pretty. You had to pay for it.
Yeah,
like extra and all that. So I would listen to songs on. I would put songs on. Like if I hear them on the radio or something at work, or I had the CD or something, I would put them on repeat and type the words out.
Yeah.
For covers I had to learn because that was the only way you could figure out the lyrics. You couldn't really go search for them. You could, but it was a whole thing. And I think that's why I still remember the lyrics to songs I learned 20, 25 years ago.
Yep.
Because I had to type them out. And now that I have my iPad, like I don't have any physical sense memory of writing or typing out the words.
Yeah.
I just look for them. So I think that's why there's even songs now that we've been doing a while, I'll forget where the verses are sometimes and stuff because I didn't commit to them like you writing that, grabbing that notebook and writing them out. There's so many, now you can literally just pick up your phone and voice dictate.
Oh yeah.
Hell, you could do a harmony or a melody if you think you can figure it out. You couldn't do that back then. So it's certainly a different way of doing things.
The amount of times I've been in not even weird places. The amount of times I've been at work and I've thought of lyrics that I've then used in songs is far more than when I'm just sitting at home trying to write.
That's the other thing. When I think, well, you should sit down and write something. And I guess that's not, I'm sure that works for somebody like Dave.
Oh my God.
But also Dave writes because he's hearing the music.
Yeah.
He can write to something quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, I never asked Dave. I have to ask him that he just writes lyrics down.
Yeah.
Or because he'll sit, he's a good guitar player too. He'll sit down and write something with his guitar, even if he uses the lyrics later. I don't do that because I'm not a creative guitar player. I don't know the notes and movement and scales enough. I want to write simple 4-chord stuff that it's going to end up sounding like every other thing I've ever learned. I could, but that's also something you can build on. But I don't know how guys like him just fire it off.
Yeah.
Because I can't force myself to write.
Yeah.
I can't. I have to feel it. Once I have something in my head and I start to kind of word vomit a lot. It just comes, I get songs done pretty quickly or a lot of it done.
Yeah.
Whether they ever go anywhere, obviously they don't because I don't write anything. I don't put anything out. But when we did the Fell From Zero stuff, two of the songs, one's a kind of a, I don't want to say rehash. That's not terrible. That's a terrible, maybe a reboot, if you will, of an old original I had in my first band that I always liked. And it ended up being brought up a buddy of mine had actually our friend Eric McNeil, Screaming Daisies and Phys Ed. Eric had rewritten the instrumentally back in the day. Like, this would be a cool, harder version of this. We never did it, but I had his recording.
Yeah.
And I showed it to the guys, and we basically took the majority of that feel,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of updated the lyrics a little bit for the song Breakdown. But the other two I wrote when I wrote Sorry Not Sorry, our first original,
Yeah.
and that just flew out of me once I had the instrumentals.
Yeah.
And that flew out of me, and then I wrote Any Questions like a day later. Like, I'm like, here we go. And I had some other lyrics for stuff we just never finished songs. But and that happened in the old days. I got one going. I'm like, oh shit, I got an idea here. I got something moving, and then I go years without writing any lyrics.
Yeah.
I get stuff in my head a lot. I'll get songs in my head, like stuff that make a great chorus or a hook, or just a line in a song. Because we've talked before, I love clever lyrics. One liners. One clever line in a song could buy me into the whole song.
Yeah.
But I don't ever write them down anymore. I do. I try to go to my phone quick and type them in. And I have some broken song lyrics in my phone that maybe someday I'll get back to. But I don't know. I don't even know what I'd want to write. Like, I don't know what style I am anymore.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a hard rock guy. Or divorced dad rock. It's probably where my stuff. I love newer metal stuff, and I like old stuff. But I mean, all the stuff we do in Ghostlight. If I wanted to write a '90s alternative song, I probably could.
Yeah.
If I wanted to try and make a real rudimentary country song, I could do that. Like, I could write probably an '80s vibe, pop song.
Yeah.
Like, I know enough about the songs, the genre of songs now, but I feel like I'm a rock guy,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's what I would write. Would I be writing just an acoustic song now? Because that's the majority of what I mean, even when we play, I'm playing an acoustic anymore.
Right.
Like, is that where I am now? Just the folky, never folk. I'll never be a folk guy. No, nothing against that. It's not my jam. But I don't know what my style of writing would be. And I know you write a lot of different styles, but I do feel your vibe is 100% rock and roll.
Yeah.
Regardless of the modern or not modern or heaviness or whatever, whether it's your Alice Cooper influences or, jumping all the way up to Beartooth or something. Right. You have your songs are rock songs. But I also know that you are creative enough, in my opinion, to write anything. I'm talking about, like, I probably could. I know you were like, well, if I got to write this 60s Beatle-esque tune, I'm going to write this quick. And you could probably figure that out. It would take me weeks to figure out exactly what I want. If someone said, you see all these jokes for guys like the videos we always see,
like, what if this band played this band?
Kelly Clarkson in the style of System of a Down. Or
yeah.
Like, and those guys, I don't know how long it takes to make those videos, but probably not long.
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin to think, oh, wait, what is System of a Down style? What would that, I know their songs, but what would I have to play to sound like? Like, I can't pick it out. You can pick out tunings, or you can pick out their specific rhythm styles, and they chug here, they don't.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, I can think of every one of their songs in my head and not how to do that.
Right.
Not how to do something like that without just copying. Again, maybe it goes back to being a cover guy. I know the songs. I don't know the style of songs to play them, or the feel. But, like, I don't have that ability where there are a lot of guys who do.
Yeah.
That can just go like, well, yeah, you know what? I want to write a Creed song.
Yeah.
Well, it has to have this kind of notes and this kind of tuning and this kind of harmony.
Yeah, like they mainly play in this kind of a scale, or like a major scale or minor scale.
Yep. And that's why there are people that are better suited for that stuff than me. I'll just roll in, sing the songs.
That's like the 2 Lady Gaga covers I did.
Right.
Where I was just talking about this the other day to my older brother, is like, her songs specifically, Lady Gaga's, her songs translate so well to metal. And
well, I mean, that makes sense. She's a bit metal herself.
Yeah, well, like, we've heard like the Hailstorm version of Bad Romance, killer cover.
Oh yeah, I covered that particular version of it for years.
Yeah. And I, just being a Lady Gaga fan like I am, I would listen to some of her tunes. I was like, these have such a driving beat to them that it would take next to nothing. Would take next to nothing to turn them into metal songs. So I did one as a just to try and prove myself right kind of deal. And so I took her song Judas and made it heavy, and it was awesome. And I was like, why don't I, like, I'm going to try some more of these.
Why haven't you just, like, done a bunch of Gaga songs heavy and put them out? Make an EP out of them.
Same thing of having to pay for it because I'm using her vocal tracks.
Oh, that's right.
I
Oh,
use her.
that's a way different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm doing
Well,
all the
then
music is
just
myself.
put them out on like YouTube. I do not own the rights to this song. Yeah, you
Yeah,
cover yourself.
maybe I'll
Worst they can do is tell you it's an infringement. They take it down.
yeah, I mean, maybe I'll do it on TikTok and get TikTok famous as the Lady Gaga metal guy. Like,
Well, I mean, careful. What if they take TikTok away again?
oh yeah,
None of us can ever buy a new phone now because we won't be able to download the app anymore.
um, excuse me, but I just did one recently to one of her new songs, her song "Disease," and that one, I think I like way more than the Judas one. I love them both, but I I do so many of these songs of her songs, and it's so cool, which is why I've been wanting to do that project for the longest time of a metal Lady Gaga tribute band.
Oh,
And it's exactly that. It's what I've been recording. It's the metal versions with a female fronted singer that we do those songs, but metal.
that's a
And
good idea.
I've had
That's a real good idea.
I've had a
actually.
few people reach out to me about it. Like I know people that would be into doing it, and it's something that I need to like. With this being a like almost like my baby. Like this is my project that I've been wanting to do. I want to be able to find someone that can hold it down vocally, but also be as theatrical as Gaga had like can.
You need the stage show. It doesn't work if you're just doing.
Right.
Well, you're not going to do a Lady Gaga stage show, but you need someone who
Right.
can have a presence on stage while doing this. Doing Gaga metal, you have to have something going on
Yeah.
to energetically or visually to back it up, not just the music.
Yeah. And
Live anyway.
and you knowing the way I like to perform, I like it to be a show. I
Right.
want to see the theatrics, and well, I'm obviously, like you said, not as theatrical as like an actual
We don't have
Gaga
a-
show.
We don't have a budget to talk about that sort
Right.
of thing in any of our bands.
So, just having somebody that can hold stage presence and have a feel to them that represents Gaga in a correct way
Right.
is going to be the tough part, because I know people that would want to, bring the project instrumentally to life. And
You need that front person, the front woman.
Yeah,
Right,
to
obviously,
bring
if you
it-
want to be.
to bring it to life, to give it a
That's
full
Evanescence.
effect. What's that?
Bring it to life. That's Evanescence. It's wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong band.
But yeah, that would be a project that I know I've mentioned it a couple times. I would still love to bring to life because, not to pat myself on the back, but I think I did a cool rendition of those songs.
Oh, listen to Mr. Humble bragging. Right? No, but you're right.
But yeah, I feel like it would be something cool and something different to add to like those the Family Value tribute shows, where just throw it into the first 30 minutes of the day. Oh, like I don't need a big set. We'll do the three or four bigger hits of hers and be done, just so people can hear like, hey, these songs are pretty cool, like heavy.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually. We're
So-
we're looking at building. Speaking of tribute shows and stuff, Next to Nothing. For anyone that doesn't know, is my Breaking Benjamin tribute band. I don't like using the word tribute, but that's just what we are, I guess. Butt rock, if you ask the right people. It's divorced dad rock. Even Breaking Benjamin uses that hashtag now. We're playing in April. We have a show in April with the guys we met our last gig at Love Drafts, Superstar, the Saliva band.
Okay.
And they have a Korn tribute opening up tonight. I want to say it's Issues. I'm sorry. I apologize to those guys if they hear this. There's so many Korn tributes that show up my feed now from playing in different areas and states that I always get screwed up on who's playing. I'll have to look it up, but we are in talks with Gen Gens Rhythm and Brews out in East Berlin. About they want us to do a show. They were looking for one this year, and unfortunately, we just don't have the schedule for it for the rest of this year that we're free. That we can add up, but we're looking in 2026 at least having 2 gigs out there.
Yeah.
So I'm giving you a year's notice that we probably are going to build a 3-band show out of that.
Okay.
And if you can come up with this by like January of next year
Yeah.
and have it ready to go, the slot's yours.
Cool.
We are actually going to talk to, there's a local band who I've not seen yet, but I hear a lot of good stuff about Ruinous.
Yes.
They're getting I hear a lot of good things. I hear the singer, I hear she's amazing. I haven't seen them yet. I've been out anywhere that I could go see them, or had unfortunately the time. But she also fronts a Hailstorm tribute. They
Oh,
did. I don't
really?
know if they did it one off or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was under the impression. I know Nick from 717 Entertainment.
Yep.
Unless it's 717. I don't know how he pronounced it. I never heard him actually say it. I assume it's 717 because we're in the area code.
Yeah.
He's had that for, God, probably 20 some years, I think. He did. I do remember him raving about them when they were at Love Drafts.
Yeah.
Doing the Hailstorm set.
Okay.
And that was before I knew that it was the same woman fronting the bands.
Yeah.
And she has some mutual friends of ours. So I'm gonna my bandmate Craig, my guitar player, next to he said, "Hey, I heard this band was pretty good, and that would be a good fit for us on with the Breaking Benjamin stuff. So let's try and get them on one of the bills for sure.
Yeah.
If they're still doing it a year out.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can build. And I'm saying this to everybody without even talking to them yet. Like I don't think the rest of my band doesn't even know about this yet.
Yeah.
But so hopefully we can get that going. We want to keep them tight. I don't want to play with bands that don't fit the style of Breaking Benjamin anymore.
Right.
We've been put on some weird tribute shows where everybody was good and we were fine. We did our thing, but we didn't really. The music didn't fit right. Breaking Benjamin fits with certain bands and certain band, in a tribute night, that when we played in Delaware a while back, you'd seen the time, you think of time like having a Deftones band and stuff like that. You'd think that would be a good mix. And I didn't feel like we fit on that bill as well as we should have. So if we're building a show, which the last few years since we played we played 3 times in 2 years, we just were put on a show. We're like, yeah, we want to go play.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean we're the band that's supposed to be there because we didn't have control over that. Us booking our own show, we're going to book shows around we want everybody to come and have, everybody
you want everybody to enjoy everybody.
A lot of those tribute shows, the idea promotional wise is you get genres that fit together or music that fits the same genre, not necessarily the same stuff, but it draws in 10 different crowds.
Yeah.
If we're doing a smaller 3-band show that we're in control of at a place in a smaller venue, I want that to be a night everybody comes and stays. I want them to come for us, but I want them to be able to enjoy the other bands.
Right.
And if you've got Breaking Benjamin fans there, you want people that enjoy that style of music.
Yeah.
You don't want to bring in a Guns N' Roses tribute or something.
Right.
Not that people would enjoy that, but those are not the same genre.
That's kind of how
I don't want much as I love them, I don't want a Limp Bizkit tribute on a Breaking Benjamin show.
Right.
It's not this. You can lump that new metal era stuff together, but Breaking Benjamin was there, but it never felt like that. They were very more grungy than they were. But anyway, that as much as those people, the age group of fans of them probably would like them together, that's not the fit for us. I'm not saying we wouldn't do a show with that kind of lineup if someone called us, but I'm not going to build a show around that.
Right. Well, that's kind of like how recently I saw it was at Love Drafts like 2 weeks ago. I think it was Stricken with Made in America.
Yes, yeah, that might have been last weekend.
Yeah, I knew it was fairly recent. Which I won't say anything bad about Stricken because they're all good. They're good at what they do, and the same thing for Made in America. Now, me not being a huge Iron Maiden
I'm
fan.
not a huge Iron Maiden fan, but even talking to Dave, who, as many of you know, he fronts Stricken, their Disturbed tribute. Very good Disturbed tribute. Even he said, it was a weird mix.
Yeah.
But he was interested in seeing the girl sing, I guess. He heard a lot of good things about her doing the song.
I've seen Made in America, but it was them with a male singer. So I haven't seen them with the female
And I
singer.
have not seen Dave to ask him how it was. I saw him the night before the gig, so I haven't seen him, talk to him since other than text for band stuff. And I'm curious what his opinion was and stuff. But that I'd go see where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm.
Disturbed and Iron Maiden aren't a show I would pay a ticket to see the actual bands together.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest thing. So why was that something that doesn't, I mean, I'm sure it probably worked for them. I'm sure people showed up and so on, but I wouldn't have built that together.
Yeah. Well, like the one Next to Nothing show that I came and saw you at, where it was, it was a Helmet tribute band.
They opened the day up. Helmet. There was Godsmack,
Static
X, Rammstein. It closed with a Slipknot band. Like, I get what they were doing there.
Yeah.
But I actually felt like the Helmet band, who we got there and heard them playing as we're coming in, they were good.
Yeah, they were
I
good.
missed most of their set. And us didn't fit that bill as tightly as the other bands fit that bill.
Right.
There was more of a metal vibe with everyone else. Slipknot and Rammstein even Godsmack can float anyway. Godsmack bands work great with Breaking Benjamin. I would play with Godsmack tributes because people still like
Yeah,
that.
that was
Or
with Realign, wasn't it?
Realign,
They
which
were
yeah, they were good.
awesome.
And those are actually the guys that we played with them again last fall in Delaware. And then the same guys are all they're actually the singer I found is in 9 different projects. 7 of
Yeah,
them
I
are
remember you
tributes.
telling me that.
But they also did there was their first show. They did a Slipknot tribute called Wait and Bleed, and I could not believe it was their first gig.
Yeah.
Clearly, they're all seasoned musicians, but my God, but anyway, I digress from that. They do I found out later they do a ton of tribute stuff because that's where it's at.
Yeah.
One of their bands is just a new metal cover band.
Oh, so they do it like anything and everything.
Anything
New
because they're
new
doing
metal.
it every other band.
Yeah.
I believe there's a Linkin Park, Slipknot, Godsmack, Limp Bizkit. Like he went on through all of them. I'm like, you do all of that stuff? Like, good Lord. But
yeah,
that beyond maybe Godsmack being on the fence, and and Helmet's very grunge, not metal.
yeah,
We were not. Breaking Benjamin has some heavy metal riffs and vocals once in a while, but they're not. They're just a hard rock band.
yeah,
And it was a weird fit that whole day. Like the bands weren't bad. It just that's the thing I'm talking about. We got put on. We wanted to play. Yeah, we can do that, but we're not maybe the right fit for this style of people. Like, unless you're getting those rare people who're just like, I love all of this.
yeah,
But, I don't know, but coming back around to it, I think your idea just having like doing 4 or 5 of those popular Gaga songs as an opener
yeah,
would work with us.
yeah,
That style will work with, especially if we're bringing like a Hailstorm tribute
yeah.
or something like that. So if you can ever get that off the ground, please keep me in mind.
Yeah, I might have to do some more digging around to try and really find some like the right female vocalist,
Right.
to really bring that to life. Because, like I said, I can get guys to do the instrumentals.
Right. Well, yeah, that's not going to be as hard as finding the right front person.
Yeah.
You need to put the vibe out there. Maybe this will be something.
Yes.
I think we have ones of viewers today.
Social media, please.
Yes, please help us. Well, that's it. That's a good thing to look forward to. You you have some songs. Do you have any songs in the pipeline right now? I mean, you always have something brewing, but do you actually have something that's like, oh, I'm going to release it for too long, or nothing at the moment since you just put out?
I have one that I have lyrics written for, and I have the instrumental written for. I just have to lay vocals down. It's for Big Happy Fast Mother Monkey.
Yeah.
Because I've been in my kick of writing that style recently, that classic rock stuff. It's a song called Wild Man, but
Oh man, this is going to be like a fucking Motley Crue or Poison song, isn't it?
oh yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you already did AC/DC.
It's all riffage.
Yeah. It's called Wild Man, bro. It's either that, it's got to be that, or like a ZZ Top blues style song. One or the other. It can't be anything else.
So I have Wild Man in the works, and another one that we're kind of bringing back to life is my brother and I. We've been wanting to bring back Transylvania ever since we stopped playing. Every Halloween season, we've been wanting to bring it back, and the first album we did, we went to a studio here in York. We went to a studio in this dude's basement, did it, and it fit the vibe of what we were trying to do.
For a guy who doesn't like that word,
I know I hate using it.
Anyway,
but it fit what we were trying to do at the time. We were really trying to go for that horror punk style, like
right.
Very,
well, that's what your jam was.
Yeah, and now because of the band really not being together, because I always say the core of that band was myself and my brother.
Right.
We were like, why don't him and I just do it together? Like, I'll write or I'll record all the instrumental. We'll bring my brother in to do the vocals, or like I'll do a vocal for a song or two.
Right.
So we're trying to revisit that as well. And for shits and giggles, I went back and re-recorded and re-engineered my cover of the What's New Scooby-Doo theme song.
We discussed this actually.
Yeah, and because we always tried to do a theme song for something with Transylvania, because like we did the Munsters. We used to use the soundbite of the Addams Family. We did the Groovy Ghoulies, because that was a cartoon that we grew up watching, but nobody knows what it is.
You say booties. That's that's an inside joke from watching the 4:30 movie, kids. You have to see it. Lots of old 80s style movie
Sister Sugar
previews
Walls.
built into this movie. Yeah.
But yeah, we did Groovy Ghoulies, and then I was like, let's do What's New Scooby Doo, because it appeals to the younger crowd, because they grew up watching that one, and it's Simple Plan that does the theme song originally.
I'm trying to... Oh, sorry.
And so I went back and revisited that, and I think it sounds really cool, and so we're gonna try and do a second album,
Cool.
but in a different style, in the new way my brother and I want to do it, where we want to go more of just a Halloween rock band, not Rob Zombie, not Alice Cooper, because they both have a very gimmicky style to them. But this is just kind of, we're a rock band, we sing about Halloween stuff, but we're not going to push it on you.
Yeah, that's appreciated.
Well, like, so, and the thing we compared it to is, there's Halloween bands out there, but they're going to push it on you that they're a Halloween band. And the one that we always referenced was Ice Nine Kills. That they do other stuff aside from Halloween, but it seems like that is their big one.
Well, horror. They're a horror
Halloween-y.
Yeah,
stuff.
they are a horror movie. I mean, their whole thing's around horror. And I think we might have touched on this. Even their album before that was all about, more or less about books, but a lot about Poe and basically horror novels. And Lovecraft, and they're very horror, as a broad term, they're horror centric.
Yeah.
But they did all those horror movies, and you immediately think Halloween with horror movies for some reason. Like, I can go watch a horror movie tomorrow that has nothing to do with Halloween.
Right.
You know, Nightmare on Elm Street is not a Halloween movie.
Right.
In fact, the only one really is Halloween. And like, what's Pumpkinhead maybe? You know, like there's things that are Halloween based.
Yeah.
Probably a Leprechaun movie, but they're not scary. They're funny.
Yeah, I love the Leprechaun movies.
But I see what you're saying. I wouldn't say I'm going to defend them, because I love that band.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In their mind, they're one of the best live shows I've ever seen in my life. They don't push on it there, but that's their gimmick.
Right.
Like, they don't go out, but they do go out. They push it in a sense, like their merch and what their whole bit is.
Yeah.
In the same way that Rob Zombie doesn't, I don't think, White Zombie, let's say, for instance, didn't push it that way, but you looked at him, knew that was their jam.
Yeah.
And when the guy starts making horror movies, when he directs, you understand that's his whole lifestyle. Alice Cooper was all about, I always felt like, because I'm not a big fan, but I grew up in a time when you knew who Alice Cooper was.
Yeah.
He has a certain way about him and a look on stage, but I wouldn't look at Alice Cooper and go, man, that's a horror guy. Especially now that you see him do interviews and talk. He's like the nicest, like, upscale white dude in the world.
Just goes out, plays golf.
Plays golf all the time. He's really well, thought and articulate. Kiss is one that pushed their thing down your throat.
Yeah.
They are not, and again, that's not a horror thing. That's just the makeup and theatrics.
Yeah.
You get that vibe because of what they do, and Gene and his tongue, and the fucking axe bass and whatnot. But they push their shit down your throat. They force what they're doing on you.
Yeah.
And maybe that's one of the reasons I'm not a huge Kiss fan. I'm not a big fan of the music, and I never was. It wasn't my thing. It was never against anybody who likes Kiss.
Yeah.
But I think I don't need you to push your agenda on me,
right,
as they say nowadays. And I see why you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. And so with Transylvania, we always wanted to be just like, when my brother and I talked about this, we basically said we wanted to do like the Ghostlight radio show feel, but for Halloween. Like, we wanted to be a Halloween party band. And
that's a great idea.
And it's songs that people can dance to at a Halloween party is basically how we described it. Because we do songs that we know that people know, like we do the Monster Mash, we do Purple People Eater, Ghostbusters. There's another one that I can't, it's leaving my mind, but we do Little Red Riding Hood by Sam Shaman of Pharaohs. And we've seen it happen where we've played and people get into them, have a good time, and they dance at a Halloween party,
right.
So we want to bring that back.
But you are also, what you're saying is good, because you're not doing like an Ice Nine or something where it's like very specific, but they can do all year round.
Oh yeah.
By doing horror movies and not just specific to one holiday, you get a longevity of that can be done any time of year, just like watching a movie. But if you're specifically going after Halloween themed things, you're basically we're gonna play from October till maybe the second week in November,
And that's exactly what
and
we
that's
did.
all you're gonna do.
That's exactly what we did, and everyone was okay with that because, you know, my brother's a family man. My brother, you know, does what he does with his family, and he doesn't want to take too much time away from the family. And I totally get that.
we get to ages where you kind of have to do that.
And at the time, it was kind of the same thing for everybody. Where, you know, my brother-in-law had a family, my cousin was just starting his family. The only ones that were like big into the music scene was myself and our drummer Tommy. And Tommy was starting his separate project, and, you know, I think I had just joined Nailed It at the time.
Okay.
So we were okay with only playing, you know, October to the first week in November.
Makes sense.
Which is exactly what we did. The second year we got together, we played every weekend in October, and then the first weekend in November, and then we were done, and we were fine with that. We got to do a lot of cool stuff. That was my first time playing at Fats, was with Transylvania.
Oh, yeah.
I played Fats 2 weekends in a row.
OF Diddy's.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say Diddy
Yeah, I was
anymore.
going to say, is phrasing.
We're going to get shut down on Facebook because we said Diddy.
But yeah, we did a couple shows that we called it like our mini tour of terror. And we played, you know, Scott Church's twice. We played Fat Daddy's twice. We played at the Lizard Lounge. We played at the Racehorse, all in a span of 4 weeks.
Not a bad run.
Yeah, it was fun. There were a couple. Oh no, and we did Shocktoberfest over in Sinking Springs.
Nice. Well, again, that's the kind of band they wanted, those sort of things.
Yeah.
Or somebody'd want to hire for a Halloween party. Now, Halloween party, you run into a different thing of, well, you can't just play Halloween songs, so now we have to have all this other stuff to cover a party.
Yeah.
You can't just play a set at those
right.
things.
That's why we fit so well doing the bar scene, because we could fit, you know, 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
And that was it. And because, like, yes, I'm a horror and a Halloween guy and stuff like that, but I don't normally want to sit through 3 hours of just Halloween songs. So we fit that opening slot for a Halloween party. Like, if you're going to have a show where, you know, you got 2 bands playing, it worked.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully we can try and get Transylvania to do something maybe this Halloween season. We always say that every year, but maybe this year.
It's coming.
We're getting there. We got, what, 8 months? So
Fine, you got time.
yeah, we got time.
Well, you know.
Oh, what was that? Did you see that?
Oh, wow.
Can you? I wonder if y'all can see that. That's cool.
Is that because we did that, or somebody just liked our video?
No, I think if you do 2 thumbs up, it doesn't.
No, it's not. It's not taken.
We're doing. This is us discovering technology. Whoa!
Oh.
We're discovering technology today.
Yeah, totally random. Thanks, Facebook Live. Well, cool. We don't have much coming up as a band. We got a couple weeks off.
We have a show in 2 weeks. You and I.
Yeah. Well, we're doing our 3 times max a year show. Nailed It show. The trio.
Oh,
you,
that's
me,
right.
and Ken are getting together for Gettysburg Rocks, which I assume most of the people who are listening to us or know us know what Gettysburg Rocks is. It's been on a long time. What is the benefit for the Four Diamonds Fund for children's, I believe, children's cancer research out of Penn State. I've been playing some. They do 2 weekends a year. I've been playing. I think I got in on the 3rd one, and I think I missed 1 year that I couldn't play either weekend because of band stuff. So I've been trying.
Yeah, because there was that time that you couldn't make it, and that we did a trio where it was me, Dave, and Ken.
I mean, some version either fell from 0 or Nailed It. See you next Friday. We've done some performance of this acoustic. I did it. I realized I did one with Rick when we were doing our thing, the Bob and Dick show. I love doing this because I love to play, and I love the idea of playing to give back. It helps people show up for benefit.
Yep.
We are playing at Jen Jen's Rhythm and Brews on the 21st. I believe we're on 8:00.
I think so. Yeah.
There's bands all 6 weeks. Revival's on route for us. I'm sure there'll be a nice crowd going on because of those guys alone.
I am excited. The Spiders of Harrisburg. So I used to work with their bassist.
Oh, cool.
We used to work together over at Chocolate World.
So, well, see, I mean, we're missing somebody.
Yeah.
I'm blanking out. I apologize. I'm thinking of stuff off the top of my head and losing the track. But we're playing that. So that's at Gen Gen's on the 21st. The 22nd, you and I are back in Northeast at the Naughty Goose for the second of our winter shows. It's also my adopted camp daughter, your girlfriend's sister.
Yep.
Your
Taylor's birthday.
Taylor's birthday. Her 21st birthday is that week finally. So we're gonna goose her up.
It's gonna be fun.
That phrasing was weird, but you guys know what I meant. So we got that coming. And then Ghostlight's finally, after a month off, we're back on stage on the 28th at New Holland Legion.
I just said to Alex on Friday, I said, like, don't get me wrong, the break is nice, but I'm ready to get back on stage.
I like and also we're still technically a new lineup.
Yeah.
We've done 6 shows total with this lineup, maybe
about
7?
Yeah.
And then we took a month off, which is just, we were supposed to play last weekend and it got canceled. Unfortunately, the Bourbon Mill out in New Oxford had some issues with the LCB, who I disagree with what they did because of something they did back in COVID. They finally restricted them. They made them shut down for 60 days, no business at all. So our show there has been moved to a Sunday in April. That's the only thing that fit our busy schedule.
Yeah.
So we weren't supposed to be off this long, but we were. So I don't want to keep doing that. A week or two off in between. I know Jimmy, our new drummer, friend of the podcast, Jimmy Everly, he former guest. Find that episode on our backlog.
Former guest and a half.
He would like to have some more time off for his kids and stuff. He was willing to fill our schedule, and we had a busy schedule before he joined. But as the year goes on, we have more weekends off in the summertime. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
We'll acclimate. You and I will find acoustic gigs if we really want to play, but we'll get to acclimate to having a little less of a heavy Ghostlight schedule. But after this break, we're pretty hardcore to May, I think.
Yeah. I was just looking at the calendar, and I think it's between Ghostlight and our duo gigs, we have something every weekend up until May.
I don't have a full weekend off until May.
Yeah.
Full weekend. Yeah. I have some Fridays or Saturdays, but yeah, May I have a full weekend off, and then I don't have another full weekend off, I believe, until July. Then I don't have something.
That sounds about right.
So I mean, it's playing. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have that. We're playing in Millersville at the VFW for the Conestoga Fire Company. It's a fundraising event.
Yep.
That our previous bass player Andy set up, because that's his fire company. He's local. So we'll actually get to see Andy. I haven't seen him since he left the band.
Yep.
So we got that coming up. That's kind of rounds out our February, going to March. And then, of course, it's show after show. We did confirm this week we are playing at the York Casino, Hollywood Casino York, on Friday, April 11th. So hopefully we can see a lot of people. We don't get a lot of York shows outside of Burning Bridge. So we've been working on this I've been working on getting this in the casino for over a year.
Yeah.
So we got this, and hopefully if we can get the turnout and make them happy, this can be we can maybe one of those rotation bands of the casino. Or the other casinos. We could go play Granville and Morgantown and wherever they want us to.
Yeah.
So it might be a pretty cool opportunity for us. It is a cool opportunity for us.
I'm excited too.
It might lead to other cool opportunities. So,
and it's my birthday show. I'm going to promote that as my birthday show.
Yes, yeah. Shout out to BRP Entertainment and our friend Rachel Rocks. She of many things, including the booking there, and as PA musician, and just generally being a good friend and supporter of local musicians. Rachel has been a friend for, almost as long as I've been doing band stuff. So through PA Musician. So I'm glad that she took over that route, because I don't want to say gave us an in. It sounds like we're getting favoritism. We're not. I think she just understood the need for changing up some of the bands that they book, like changing the rotation from the person that was doing it before her, and also bringing in more local bands that people like to go see. And we are one of them. We're not doing this because she's like, oh, it's Bob, and it's probably fine. She's seen us. She knows what we do. So very appreciative of that, and of the casino for even having entertainment anymore. So we got that coming up. That's probably the quote-unquote biggest new thing, Ghostlight. I mean, otherwise it's all our favorite haunts and all that are coming. So got a pretty busy spring when we get there. Our winter's going to wind down, but February is fixed. We're in Pennsylvania, so it could be winter through March, but if it trends like it always does and mid-March starts getting warm, and actual spring hits mid-March, our final part of our winter for Ghostlight is pretty much all March.
Yeah.
So, but we have other shows and we have acoustic stuff, and you and I are talking about finding other gigs, whether it's solo or maybe if we find duo stuff during the week. We like to play, and I I am going to be in talks with some people. May get us nowhere. Anybody's listening to this can help out. I had a post up on Facebook, on my personal Facebook the other day, about booking some stuff in the Dewey and Rehoboth area. Ghostlight used to play down there when I joined the band, and we skipped it last year because we play a lot in Northeast Maryland. It just didn't make sense anymore. But even if the full band can't play, I'd love to maybe we have plenty of friends that have summer places down there, and people we know would come out. And I'd like to try and get some acoustic gigs down there. I think.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
I don't get to go down to the beach much anymore because of shows and having the campground, but even just one weekend or 2 weekends a year or something, whether it's off season or in season, we can go down and, get some acoustic gigs in, or maybe get Ghostlight back down there for one weekend a year or something.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. Some other things are always in the fire, like we said, the original stuff, and this song. I'll say for my sister, it sounds self-serving. It's, I guess, more about my sister and her current things going. And for anybody that does ask me, I thank you for reaching out. She's doing fine considering the cancer and where they've diagnosed her. She hasn't improved, and she unfortunately probably won't, not to bring the end of the show down, but she hasn't gotten worse. She's been stable since they sent her home. She was at the show we did for her. Nothing's changed, so that is a positive thing. She's still here. She sits on her laptop, does work every day when she doesn't need to work anymore. They just let her because she's really good at her job. But again, to anybody that's been asking how she's doing, if I haven't told you or put it out, she's doing as well as can be expected, and she's still kicking. So she's still doing her thing as best she can. So, but we have that song coming up that I would let's call it a tribute to my sister.
Yep.
For lack of a better term, which we are, again, her friend Craig did one this week. He put out and had some of her friends on doing some gang vocals basically in the background.
Yep.
The sentiment is great. The idea that she's touched so many musical people that people want to do this. And I had thought about it right away. I should really write a song for her. But again, it goes back to our earlier conversation. I don't write well. And that's why when I brought it up to you, you had some stuff. I knew you'd be there. And you know my sister, and you've gone out of your way to go up and do the benefit and the show for her recently. And just I wouldn't want to, there's very few people I'd even ask for help with something like that, but certainly nobody I'd rather do it with. So I appreciate the help. Yeah. So hopefully that's coming soon. And I say this, I've now said this for, I believe we're on our 5th episode in a row. That Pickle Shot song is getting done, especially if we're in like writing throws.
Yeah.
It's almost springtime, dude. We have to have this ready for the campground. So we actually have to stop screwing around with this. And once we get this written down, I thought, now that we're getting into the live area and doing videos more, I thought we should play that as a live video. And I was like, but I don't know if I want everybody to hear it until we're ready to release it, and then we'll do it. And also, this live thing's going to work out. We get people to watch. We'll promote it better. We didn't tell anyone we were doing it.
Yeah, we just kind of did it to do it.
But if we get this worked out, maybe we can do some live performances.
Yeah.
In lieu of, hey, we couldn't get a show this week. We have a Thursday night off, and hey, man, you want to get together and do an acoustic and on a live stream? And,
yeah.
We'll take requests and stuff. Like I see, I use the model of our buddy Dave Gates has a good handle on doing live stream shows and stuff. In fact, he does them at his studio.
Yeah.
He's like letting bands come and do live streams, and he engineers. Maybe we'll make a night.
We'll set something up with Dave. Yeah.
Set up Dave, and we'll do a live stream one night from his place, his cool studio. So lots of options out there. So we got things. We're always busy. We keep things busy, and I did appreciate the fact we had time to get together. Very unplanned about, hey, let's just record since I don't have a gig and we have time. That we can still get together and have a ramblings episode. We tend to have those at least once a season now.
Yeah.
Which is cool. We don't always have to have a topic or a guest, although I do enjoy it. And again, we are still looking for guests. We have a lot of people we want to talk to and try and schedule. We have a couple more or less in the pipeline. It's just figuring out dates. But if anybody's interested in being on the podcast or knows someone that you think would be an interesting guest, and I don't care if they've been on every other local podcast, we have things to talk about. Please reach out to myself or Jake or to the the podcast page. How many pages I have? 17. Reach out to us and give us some suggestions, or private message us and say, hey man, I'd love to get on and talk about my new album I got coming, or my paintings I do, or hey, I make spices and sell them at flea markets. You got an interesting story to tell. That's something that we can relate to. We're not a music podcast as much as we thought we were going to be.
Right.
We are music oriented, but we're kind of open to any topic.
Yeah.
I was going to say into anything, but the internet will take that from me.
Phrasing.
Yes, phrasing. I'm not going to say I'm into anything without the $20 because $20 is $20. But anyway, so I think that probably wraps us up for a day. We got stuff. There is one thing we didn't talk about. Real briefly, we'll talk about. It's Super Bowl Sunday, Jake. And
it is Super Bowl Sunday.
I know a lot of our fans, especially a lot of our music heads, don't give much care to the sports ball. I'm a huge. I'm not just a football fan or a hockey. I mean, I'm a sports fan.
Let me sit up so our viewers can see my amazing shirt.
I'm a well-known Niners fan. I'm also a hockey fan, Devils fan, Bears. Go Bears.
Go Bears.
But I am not a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'm not a Philadelphia sports fan in any way, shape, or form. However, fuck the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and his slew of refs and every other reason. Nevertheless, I have a personal reason for hating because they beat the Niners twice in 5 years in the Super Bowl. But I will say today, by default, I'm rooting for the Eagles. Go Eagles. I'm not going to say the other one. I'll say it. The second time in my history I rooted for the Eagles when they played the Patriots and they won. So that's good luck for Eagles fans because I rooted for them and they won. Philly special.
So I just said this the other day to Alex and she about threw a shoe at me. Last time Philly was in the Super Bowl, Chris Stapleton sang the national anthem, and I said that's why we lost. Because people that know me know my dislike for Chris Stapleton's voice.
Well, and who was it that took it away from him?
The Chiefs.
Yeah, so the refs, the Kansas City refs. But I am actually, for anybody who cares about this or listens to this after the fact, I am a Saquon Barkley fan. I liked him in Penn State. I'm not as huge into college football as I am NFL, but Barkley's it was always an amazing kid. We all knew he was going to go to the NFL. I thought the Giants might actually use him for something, and they squandered him, and he got hurt. And I was just like, this poor kid's never going to get a shot. First year in the Eagles, he all but breaks records. They only kept him from breaking a record because why run him in the last game that didn't mean anything and risk the chance of getting hurt because they needed the playoffs. They didn't know they were going to the Super Bowl then. But it's also his birthday. Happy birthday, Saquon Barkley.
And it's Cooper DeJean's birthday, too.
Yeah. And I hope he has an amazing game. I hope the Eagles win, if not for anything other than I want him to win a Super Bowl. He deserves it.
He deserves
and I don't want the
Super
Chiefs
Bowl.
to get a three-peat or make any history or fuck those guys. I'm hateful.
And Taylor Swift, too.
I'm not one of those people like there are people who are saying Taylor Swift ruined the NFL.
Oh, I'll never admit that.
What? Because she's dating a guy and they show her on TV? The fuck does that have to do with anything? Anyway, but I hope the Eagles win on those two things. I need the Chiefs to lose. I hope the Chiefs lose rather than me saying that I hope the Eagles win. But I want Saquon Barkley to not only win on his birthday, but even as I said to you earlier when we were eating breakfast, if the Eagles have a great game, he has a great game, and they somehow don't win, I'd be awesome if he ended up being the MVP.
Yeah.
Because the losing team can have the MVP. It's happened many times.
Yep.
It usually ends up being the fucking quarterback of the winning team, whether they did anything or not. But I hope that's the way it goes. So you won't get me to say that GOBIRDS thing. And I can actually spell Eagles if I wanted to do the chant, unlike the mayor of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yes. The Eggless. But I hope that's how it turns out. Obviously, he's wearing his Eagles gear today. I have a girl that works for me, my assistant manager. What up, Tata? I know you're not listening to this. You don't do anything on this sort of thing, but she is almost every day wearing Eagles. She is a hardcore Eagles. So I have some people, obviously living in PA my whole life. I got a lot of Eagles fans, friends, your girlfriend's family.
Yep.
There are just people that are ecstatic about this. So I hope for everybody involved, it goes the way we all want. Or at the very least, can we have a fair game?
Yeah.
Like I know it's a hard pull for dealing with the Chiefs, but hopefully we have a fair game and a good game, and it's not a boring blowout or a slow game 3-3. Like, let's have a good football game. At least the Super Bowl. I don't care about the commercials anymore because if I want, I can go on the internet when we're done and watch every Super Bowl commercial before the game's even on.
Do you think we're getting any Marvel movie or any kind of good comic book movie commercials?
I think we're gonna get. I think we'll get some kind of TV spot for Fantastic Four because they put out that trailer this week, which
I hope so.
Looks amazing, and I don't even know what the movie's about. Other than I know the Fantastic Four from being a comic book nerd. But it has no business looking that good, which means they know exactly what they're doing. They picked the right actors and they picked the right director. That's the guy that did WandaVision, Matt Shackman.
Yeah.
And that guy understands the assignment when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I have a feeling it's going to be great. I think we'll get a TV spot for that because otherwise you just had to go on the internet to watch it.
Yeah.
Like even Disney doesn't have it up to watch on Disney Plus. Like that trailer's not there yet.
Yeah.
I think we'll see something for a bunch of Captain America stuff because Brave New World comes out next week. I'm going opening night, and there's a lot of people out there that are sleeping on this movie because it's not Steve Rogers, it's not Chris Evans. Why? Unfortunately, the internet's full of why is there a black guy as Captain America because they're racist pricks.
Read the comic books.
Yeah, Stan Wilson's been Captain America in the comics for probably 20 years now. Going on 15, 20 years.
I have like 6 or 7 issues from that run when Mark Waid was writing it. I have issues of that signed by Mark Waid because I love that run.
Yeah, it's and also a bunch of people skip because they don't watch TV shows. They skip Falcon and the Winter Soldier a couple years ago.
Yup.
Where Sam is going through, should he even be Captain America? Does America even want a black man as Captain America? It's got a lot of social commentary, which Captain America should.
Yeah.
He used to punch Nazis, guys.
As I'm staring at the giant
picture, Captain America #1, where he's punching Hitler. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. My room, the angles you can't see here, it looks like, look at these music stuff and a little Captain America thing behind Jake. No, I have a whole wall. It's almost all Captain America and Transformers. Anyway, nerd. But that's coming out this week. But I think we'll see a bunch of TV spots, like probably 2 or 3. I bet different commercials for that, at least 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to show some more Thunderbolt stuff. If anybody's not watching the preview, that movie,
I forgot about that.
That movie's got me hyped for no reason. It's like Marvel Suicide Squad, but it's all characters that I love from the movies they were in, and it just looks fun. So, Fantastic Four is the one they're going to push.
Yes.
So I assume we'll see some of that. Probably more Jurassic Park stuff. They just released a trailer for that. I didn't watch the trailer yet, but it's a movie I'll watch at home. I like Scarlett Johansson.
And we'll get a Budweiser commercial with the Clydesdales.
I am very much hoping we see a newer preview for Superman, something different than what they showed us.
Without the crooked eye Superman. Did you see that?
Oh, it's just they're people. Everybody, I can freeze frame stuff and make it look fun too. There's plenty of pictures that look like they're having a seizure if you freeze frame it right. The internet needs to settle down. But I don't know if there's much else that I'm like, oh shit, I hope they show us this. I like to be surprised when they show us a preview for a movie. Because I love the movie trailers when Super Bowl comes out. It's always a big deal. I like when they show us something that we didn't expect.
Yeah.
There's been many years where they were like, oh, here's a surprise trailer. We didn't even tell anybody we were listening. Not like that weird shit they did that year where they had that sequel to something. They're like, here's a trailer for this movie that's coming out. We didn't tell you it was a sequel to this movie. Oh, to one of the Cloverfield movies.
Oh.
And they're like, oh, by the way, this isn't coming to theaters. It'll be on Netflix tonight at 12 p.m. We didn't tell anybody. They did this trailer like thinking it was going to be some summer blockbuster sequel. And they're like, no, you can watch it tonight. It's never going to the theaters. And apparently it was terrible. I never watched it. It was terrible, and it bombed badly for Netflix. Like, it was a bad marketing.
Wow.
Anyway, I don't know. And I hopefully there's some funny ass commercials and there's always a good Doritos commercial and shit. So, commercials are going to entertain me more. So, but hopefully it's a good time and how it come for everybody. We're going to a Super Bowl party at one of the clubs. Shout out to Victor Athletic Club or Peoples. But I think it's going to be an interesting evening of football.
Yeah.
Please let it not be a shit show one way or the other. And anyway, I don't want to get into sports semantics on our show, but just wanted to bring that up because, Eagles fan.
Go Birds.
My family, my mom's not an Eagles fan. She was rooting for Saquon. He had some somewhat lewd things to say about him, I think, for a 72-year-old woman when we were all together the other weekend. But
Grandma Jenny.
But my sister and her husband and their kids are all big Eagles fans. In fact, I think I gave my sister a heart attack when I posted on her Facebook that I was rooting for the Eagles. So we're looking for a good time. So, hey, that's probably it, I think, for a Ramblings 3.0, I think. But we will be back probably in a couple weeks. Like we said, we're desperately trying to – desperately, yeah. Oh, my God, we're so desperate. We're trying to do this more often than once a month this year if we can. January was just what it was. It was too screwed up to get less than one episode or more than one episode. But Jake and I fully intend to try and do some solo episodes back and forth.
Yep.
We'll try and check in Facebook Live or TikTok. Wherever you guys can find us, please do. And we'll be back soon, probably I would say sometime before the end of the month at least with a full episode. Hopefully we can get our guest thing working.
Yeah.
You guys got any ideas for topics for shows or something you want us to talk about or any questions? We could do a whole episode of question and answer if you guys wanted. Stuff you want to know about us, or maybe we never talked about. I'm a size 10.5 wide. If you guys want to buy me anything.
You know how many times I have to go to different stores or order my shit online because my feet are too big to order shoes?
Yep, yeah, it's rough life, 1%ers. Anyway, so that being said, we're going to go on with our superb Owl Sunday. So for Nailed It the Podcast, as always, I am Bob.
I'm Jake.
We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
Later.
Nailed it.
There we go.